Do you have your coffee cup?
No. Negative.
What?
I know. I should have the wife bring
I
it
got
up.
a special one out for tonight. I got The Incredibles.
I have my hydro flask.
You have your chug jug.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
That's good.
Hydrate or dihydrate.
Just sip of Kool-Aid here.
Okay. What?
Kool-Aid.
Did you say Kool-Aid?
Yeah. God,
awesome.
I wish that was our content. That's so good.
And it's all done completely unscripted, completely off the cuff. That's why they're like famous comedians, though.
Yeah. I mean, they've been honing their craft for their entire lives.
We just have crap. I mean, craft crap.
So, were you thinking about what you said earlier about the, wardrobe malfunctions when we were younger? That's what I'm going to call it.
Wardrobe malfunctions.
Malfunctions, but not in the way, not the Janet Jackson type of malfunction.
Janet Jackson.
Mushmouth.
Yeah, so we were talking earlier about some of the crazy, weird stuff that we did when back in the 90s and early 2000s, the way we dressed and how we had our hair. We actually had hair. And
we did.
Like just how fashion has kind of changed. Well, it's not kind of changed. It's changed a lot in the last 30 years. Oh.
Yeah. Side note, real quick before we jump into that. We're both bald, right? I don't know about you, but I went my whole like childhood, young adulthood thinking that it was on your mom's father's side that you would get that. Like if your grandfather on your mother's side had hair, then you should be fine. And apparently that's a lie. I've been seeing, a lot of information about hair loss, and that's a complete lie. So I was like going my whole life thinking, oh, I got nothing to worry about, no problem. And then all of a sudden,
I always thought that too.
Yeah, apparently that's a farce. It's not true.
Well, we've proven that to be not true. I mean,
yes, because our grandfather had a full head of hair until he was like 80, and then he started to thin.
He never lost his hair. I mean, it was even when he got sick and stuff, he still had hair.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it got a little thinner, but not that much, really.
Yeah.
He still had more hair than we do.
Yeah. I mean, I have to keep mine shaved or else I just look absolutely ridiculous. I think I do.
I feel the same way about myself, but I keep mine a little bit longer than you do.
I hate it when I first shave my head. I just hate the way I look. Like, I like it when it grows just like a couple of days and I have just like a little bit of stubble, but when I first shave it, ugh. And like, I can't grow a beard either. So I shave my face and my head and I'm like, who are you?
I ask myself the same question every morning when I look in the mirror and when I'm on these videos and I'm looking at myself. I'm like, ugh, who are you? What happened? I can grow hair everywhere else, but it seems to be thinning out on top.
You can really grow a serious beard. I mean,
yeah.
that thing is good. I want to be friends with it.
You said that part, not the previous part.
So, all right. Sorry. I digressed us off of our topic.
That's all right. That's we should rename the podcast to like just two brothers digressing.
Yeah, that's true.
Brothers gotta digress.
Brothers gotta digress all the time in everything.
If it wasn't for AI, we really wouldn't have any kind of outline to follow for this.
We survived without AI. We can survive without it now. You just got to
Okay,
use your brain.
but we're not.
It's there, so why not use it?
That's my point.
Let's jump into the question. What
Yeah, well,
is
the first
most
thing that
embarrassing fashion trend that you and I fully embraced in the 90s or early 2000s?
I can think of several, but I used to wear these white Levi's 501 button flies that were like skin tight, and I would tight roll the bottoms of them. And for those of the four of you that are listening, because we're probably up one listener from last week, but for the four of you that are listening, tight rolling, if you don't know, you would take the bottom cuff of your jeans and you would fold it over on itself and then roll it up like 2 or 3 cuffs.
Yeah.
And so I would wear those with a tucked in Ocean Pacific t-shirt, and I'd have my Nike Cross trainers on, and I thought I was like untouchable. So embarrassing. And I had my Zach Morris hair.
Yeah.
Yep. It was
These
sweet.
are like all the same ones. I didn't have 501 button fly down white jeans, but I definitely tight rolled my pants for a time. I had the frosted tips in my hair, like that awful, like mid to late 90s frosted tips.
Yep.
And my hair like just kind of went down like this in the front, almost kind of like a bowl cut, but with a little bit more texture in there. So yeah, I was rocking that. I had a lot of different like styles. I feel like I went through like stages when I was a kid.
You did.
Yeah, right? Like I was like I did like a skater phase for a little while where I shaved my head. God, if I would have known I was going to lose my hair, I probably would have never done that when I was a kid. But nonetheless, shaved my head. And I was a skater, so I had like the big Jenko jeans. Jenko with the huge pockets that were like the entire length of the pants. Mm-hmm. And then they were all ripped up on the bottom, and like, I had like Vans skater shoes on. I was like a poser skater though. I wasn't like,
I was going to say, you didn't really even know how to skateboard all that well.
No, I was terrible. I sucked. I just thought it was cool. And then I was like learning how to play the guitar back then. And so I was hanging out with these guys in my grade that were kind of newer to the school, and they were both skaters and musicians. And so we started a band together. You remember, Mom and Dad so eloquently and graciously called us We Suck. Yeah. So nice. I mean,
I don't remember what the actual name of your band was, though.
I don't even think we had one. We never played a gig or anything. We just practiced, and then it just sort of fizzled out. But like we would skateboard together, and that's where I started like getting into it, and I started to learn a little bit, but I sucked. It was terrible. Oh yeah, and then so after the skater phase, I went to like the preppy sort of Zach Morris look in my later high school years, and that's where I kind of was.
That's where you just help yourself to my wardrobe at that point, because that's the way I was dressing by the like late 90s to around 2000.
That's true.
I was dressing more preppy at that point.
I don't know if we want to just gloss over the fact that I helped myself to your wardrobe, but we could tell that that story.
No, let's gloss over that.
Why?
Because I don't know.
Don't you want our listeners to know how I entered your room?
I just am still like dumbfounded that Mom and Dad like actually put up with the way that we acted in that house. Like, I literally screwed a padlock type lock to my door, but I was so dumb that I put it on backwards, so the screws were exposed. So all you had to do was get a screwdriver and unscrew it, go inside, take whatever you wanted, and then go out and put the lock back on. And of course, this was long before there were cameras and things that you could set up. You know, like I would imagine you could totally bug your room now, like to
Yeah.
keep your younger sibling. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. I would go into your room often that way.
Well, I worked. I mean, I worked full time at that point. I think I was working full time and I was going to school, so I was rarely home.
Yeah.
So
You did start working at like a really young age. You were like 14?
I was 14 when
Yeah.
I got my first like actual job where they give you a W-2 at the end of the year.
Yeah. I mean, most 14-year-olds today couldn't even imagine working, especially in the ways that, you know, you and I worked. Like, I feel like kids, you know, they'll get like a little job, you know, at the, you know, whatever, the coffee shop, Starbucks, or
Yeah,
they'll,
the grocery store.
the grocery store. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, you know, you were working like, we worked this really random place in our town together where we packed boxes.
Yeah, I mean, it was a shipping
Shipping
department. So like, you know, I was like processing all the shipments that were going out every night. I would come in after school and there'd be this enormous pile of boxes waiting for me that I would have to process through this weird machine. I guess it was some sort of computer. This was the 90s, so it was kind of strange. And then put the labels on them and stack them up. And then when the UPS guy I had to help the UPS guy came, I had to help the UPS guy load his truck, and it was hard work. But it was fun. I remember having a lot of fun doing it. So
yeah, I never did that part. I only did the packing of the boxes part, which I really liked, actually.
Yeah, I did that for a while too. And then I did where I like picked the orders.
Mm-hmm.
For quite a while, I did that.
This was like obviously way before the days of Amazon and like that whole model. So I feel like where we worked was kind of ahead of its time, you know, like.
Yeah, I mean, it was like all done through like catalogs that were sent in the mail, and then they had like salespeople that would call the customers out, like an outbound sales team that would call and say, "Hey, I'm just checking on to see if you need anything, blah blah." And then the other people would just look through the catalog. Oh, I need to order some stuff, and then just call in. It was all over the phone. It's crazy.
Part about that really stands out to me in my memory is how we would put the packing peanuts into the boxes. I always just remember this because the product would come down the little conveyor belt. It wasn't automatic though; it was like a roller, right? And they'd have to push the packages down, if I'm remembering correctly. And then, you'd pull the package off onto your workstation, and then you pull this like gun thing over from the ceiling, and then like squeeze it, and then the peanuts would fall down into the box, and you'd fill it up, and then you'd take your tape gun and you'd pack up the box, and there was all kinds of stuff.
Do you remember how you could fill those things with the peanuts?
I don't know if I remember that part.
There was like this little like pulley system that was hooked to the ceiling and you would lower it down, and then we had these like enormous bags of packing peanuts that you dump in there.
I do remember that now. Yeah.
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 And then there'd also be like all the returns that came in. There'd be like all the random packing peanuts that would be in the returns.
Yeah.
And we would save all of them.
Yeah.
And mix them in with the other. And then newspapers. It was a small business. So like,
yeah,
we did some things.
Reuse it. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Again, ahead of its time.
Yeah. And I learned how to drive a forklift, you know, like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was cool. It was a cool first job, place to work. And then.
How long did you stay there?
I don't know if I was there for that long. I feel like I
Yeah, because
bounced through a couple jobs when I was younger.
I don't. Was I there when you worked there? I don't think I
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Huh?
No, you were for a little bit.
Okay, because I had went to work for FedEx full time like around 1999 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was like, I mean, I think I was probably like a sophomore in high
Okay.
school, something like that. I was young, pretty young.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah, that was fun.
I probably do have pictures. In fact, I know we have pictures. That's what I was going to tell you. I was going through photos like the other day looking for like a thumbnail, like something we could use for a thumbnail.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up just using AI and it made one for me. But I found this picture of me shaving your head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
picture too.
Yeah. I think we both like took a picture of the picture
Took a
kind
picture
of thing.
of it. Yeah.
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 It's crazy that was like 27 years ago or something like that.
Yeah. I don't even want to think about that. Time's moving so fast.
It is, because it doesn't seem like that long ago either. You know, it seems like it's gone by really, really quick.
So fast. So
Like
fast.
the fact that I've been married for almost 23 years now, it's just like, what? It's hard
I
to
know.
fathom.
I'm 18.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Like, really?
Mhm. Yeah, I know.
That is just
It'll be
craziness.
18 this June. And then, yeah, 20 in 2028.
Wild.
It is.
Speaking of time going by so fast, it's like think about the amount of time that you spend in your job versus the amount of time that you actually have free at the end of every day and on the weekends. Like how that seems to go by so fast, all that free time, and yet those 8 hours that you spend every day working, some days it's just like you just don't think it's ever even going to end.
I know. It's the reality of everybody. Unfortunately, well, not everybody in the world, but most people in the world have a similar reality of, grinding it out for 8 hours. You got your job, you got to get your paycheck, you got to do the things so you can pay the bills and take care of the family and all those things. But, the reason that you don't spend a lot of time doing your passions after work is because you're tired, you're exhausted, and you're
It's
doing
so
other
true.
things. And when you're an adult, like, and you have a family, you're doing laundry, you're doing dishes, you're cleaning, you're taking care of the kids, taking them to and from various things, all the activities. So like that leaves very little time, like even right now, like we have to squeeze in our calls, so we can make sure we're consistent, but we have to be strategic about it and, make sure that we follow through and make the time. And it's,
Yeah, and we have to hold each other accountable for it too. And so,
yes.
in that I very much appreciate.
Yes, same.
It's hard, it's being a adult is hard.
Adulting.
Adulting is really tough, and there are many days where I don't want to adult.
Most days I don't want to adult.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather just, if you go back to being a kid. If you could go back and tell your younger self one thing and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
I don't know at this point. Don't rush things, probably,
Yeah.
and don't rush things and enjoy life every day. Don't
Mm-hmm.
don't force yourself into becoming an adult is quick. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I say to my kids, like enjoy, like I always remind them, just enjoy being a kid, like you don't have
Yeah.
to grow up so fast. You can be a kid as long as you want. I've said that to them too. Just
Yeah.
be a kid as long as you want.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What about you? What's one thing you would tell your younger self?
I would definitely say the same, don't rush. Just relax, take a step back and just enjoy the younger years, because before you know it, you're going to be in your 40s and you're going to be like looking back like, how the heck did that just happen? Like, even like, and I especially feel it when I look back to my early 20s, because when you're in your early 20s, you kind of feel like you have this like new sense of freedom because you've left your home, that you grew up in, and you kind of feel like you're never going to get old, and you have all the time in the world to make the important decisions, or to think, to do to follow your dreams and, work on your passions and things like that. But what you don't realize is by the time you get older, everything else starts slowing down. You get tired. You more than likely have a family you got to take care of. So all of those things are taking the priority over these other things. I feel like my 30s, when I started having kids, are like a blur.
Oh, 100%.
Like from 30 to 40, like those first 10 years of the kids' lives, it's just because you're so tired. Little kids are just a lot of work. And so it's just almost just like kind of blurry, But anyway, back to the question real quick. I would say don't rush it, but I'd also probably give myself some advice on like, as far as like your career goes, like I would say to myself, like really think about that when you're young. Like and I agree with your point, telling your kids, be a kid as long as you can. And I totally agree with that. And I say the same thing, but I'm also trying to instill in both my girls to really try to find what you're passionate about, what you like to do, what makes you happy, and try to make a job out of that, and I'm trying to like encourage them to think about it and go through that process of like really trying to hone in on like a career path, because like it really does matter, because a lot, most of us can't escape it. We're going to be in some sort of a job. It might as well be something that you like to do and that you love to do. So,
well, and like, don't settle, like don't settle for something just because it's easy. I think that might be a piece of advice too. Like, don't settle for something just because it's easy. Like those things, like you're talking about, like find what you're passionate about it and make it a job. Guess what? That's not going to be easy. We have jobs, all these various jobs, because it was easy, right? It's like doing something like this, or making music, like, those kind of things. It's hard. Like it's hard to find success in it. So like, don't settle, go
settle.
after it.
That's right. Yeah. Work hard at the things that really matter to you. And don't necessarily think that there's just like one path, like there's so many different paths and avenues. And I feel like when I was a kid and I was coming out of high school, like I barely, wasn't the best student. So to get into a college in general was like, I felt like a freaking miracle. So I was like so excited that I even got in anywhere. And I was like, yes, I'm going to college. And I'm not saying like I probably would have still gone to college, but I just feel like it would have been beneficial if I would have just thought about what do I want to do, and go to school for music production or, music, teaching or something like that. Like I just, music's always been one of my biggest passions. And I do regret not following that passion at a younger age, and in more of a strategic way to where I could say, okay, well, I could do this for a living in this capacity. I could be a teacher or a producer or whatever, You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
but also in your defense, it was a lot harder to do stuff like that back then. I feel like now in the day and age we're in with the state of technology and how far it's advanced, kids can do that kind of stuff, and they can be online producing their music and sharing it out with thousands, millions of people within a matter of a few minutes, where before that, none of that existed. You could do it the old fashioned way where you'd create a demo tape and, you'd have to go try to find somebody to listen to it and see if you could get a gig at a coffee shop and that sort of thing, where now it's like if you have a phone, you can record everything even on your phone. It's wild. So I think that's cool too, that, if our kids decided they wanted to pursue something in the creative field, there's a lot of tools that are available for them that we didn't have back in the day. Yeah. So that's pretty cool too.
That is.
I think the original question that we were talking about was like, what do you do with your leftover hours after you grind it out for 8 hours every day?
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of them right here. Like this is still relatively new for us, but we always have for years now talk on the phone at least once a week, or we'd go on FaceTime at least once a week and just chat for several hours. And that's kind of why we decided to, push the button on creating a podcast, because why not, Right. And it gives us more of an excuse to chat. But yeah, we're trying to squeeze it in tonight because we have lots of family obligations. So
yep. Yeah. I mean, the leftover hours, like we said, were just spent taking care of things, taking care of the family.
Pretty much.
And then when you're not, you're tired and you sit down in your chair or on your couch or whatever for the hour maybe you have at the end of the night after you're done with everything. I mean, I don't know about you, but I usually just end up falling asleep, or doom scrolling on your phone for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's my weakness, is just I find myself just scrolling. And I think that's millions of us that do the same thing, like we have to feed the dopamine addiction,
So true. And these phones are very, very addictive.
Yeah, and I mean it's all designed to be that way. I mean, social media is designed to be addictive. There was a lawsuit that actually just came out. I don't know if you heard about it, where this girl sued Meta and YouTube and won like $6 million or something like that, for the algorithms being designed to be addictive, basically. Wow. Now, YouTube and Meta are both appealing, so they did not admit any type of guilt in it, but they were found liable for this. But
yeah,
who knows what's going to happen? But these algorithms are designed to keep you scrolling.
Yeah. It's so true.
It becomes like this comfort kind of. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It becomes like this comfort kind of thing. Like, oh, it's the end of the day. I can turn my brain off, and just look at stupid videos.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And it is. It's certainly a comfort thing. It's because it's fun. It's funny. Most of the things that we do are like looking at reels on Instagram, and sending them back and forth to each other because it's funny, and it does have some positive benefits. I mean, it's a way to relax and unwind, and I get a good laugh, out of it most of the time, but what we all need to do better at is just knowing when enough is enough and to put it down.
Yeah, and just go to bed.
Go to bed. Get back to living in the real world and not just, staring at your glass rectangle. Right.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So we should do a better job of that.
All right. Quick thing to kind of start to wrap things up here. I know we're approaching our kind of 30-minute guideline we like to stay on, and I know you've got to jump off here soon. If you, this is not me. I did not write this. This is AI. If you were stranded on a desert island and could only bring 3 movies total to share, which 3 would get your approval? I'm pretty sure that we would land somewhere in the same 3 movies.
Wait a minute. So we're stranded on a desert island, but we
don't sweat the details, bro.
we have the ability to watch a movie.
There just happens to be a little hut there with an old 19-inch television and a VCR. And
so it's like Lost. Have you ever seen Lost?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They go into the bunker, and then there's that old TV down there, and there's like
and like the record player and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with you now. We're on the same page. All right, I'm envisioning Lost. 3 movies that I could only, and then we would have to share them.
Yeah, and so let's keep it to movies from when they were still on VHS.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, wow. This is tough. I would have to go with, one of them has to be The Goonies.
That was literally what was in my brain for the first one. Goonies.
Okay.
Yep.
Number 2, I mean, one of our favorite movies, to quote National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Okay. Yep.
It's got to be in there, because I mean that was in like the late 80s.
Yeah, that was 1989.
Yeah.
So that was definitely VHS era. In fact, I think we had it on VHS as kids.
Yeah. All right. Gosh. The last one, I feel like I'm drawing a blank here.
Well, my third pick was going to be Tommy Boy, because that came out in 95, which I mean that could have been on, I suppose, on DVD at that point, but
yeah.
I mean, I have the DVD, but that's because you got it for me for my birthday like 15 years ago or 20 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Back when we were gifting DVDs.
We still buy DVDs in this house. P.S.
Wow. That's cool.
That's awesome, is what that is.
Yeah. That is. No, that is. We just don't. I have a DVD player, but it's not hooked up. It's like in my base. It's just in the basement.
That doesn't surprise me. It's like in a bin. Everything's in a bin.
Yeah. Labeled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Old electronics or something.
Well, don't get rid of it.
I won't.
But you don't have a VCR though, do you?
No. Mm-mm.
I still have one of those as well.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And I have VHS tapes.
Look at behind you. I mean, you're like Mr. Analog, which is cool. I mean, like, you never know when you're going to need this stuff, you know?
Maybe I should start pulling a tape off of there like every week and talking about it.
That's a good idea.
You know?
That's a great idea. Random pick.
Let's see. Well, I'm just going to be random.
Yeah, just random. Don't even look at it.
All right, here we go. This is a good one. Club Nouveau.
Okay.
Do you remember Club Nouveau?
I have no clue what that is.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, this came out.
Club No Clue.
Club Nouveau.
No, Club No Clue.
Right. Right. You're not funny.
Yes, I am.
When did this come out? Let's see. 1986. Yes.
And what was a Club No
All right,
Clue
so
song?
They're famous. They're one-hit wonder for certain. Their famous song was they redid the famous song "Lean on Me."
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I have no idea. No
You
recollection
would,
of that.
if you heard it, if you heard that version of it, you would know it. I'm not going to demonstrate it because I would just embarrass myself. But you should look it up.
Okay.
And for the
All
four
right.
of you that are listening, also look it up. I think it's a really good version of "Lean on Me." It's
Okay.
not as good as the original, obviously, but it's a classic 80s kind of techno pop take on "Lean on Me."
All right, I like it.
So there you go. That's the cassette of the week.
Cassette. The cassette of the
Yes.
week.
Yes, the cassette of
For
the
all
week.
you younger people listening, a cassette is a tape. And that is what
Well,
we used
a
to
tape,
use.
that doesn't
to,
define anything. What's
A
a
cassette tape.
means? Tape is like, that's a cassette.
Yeah. You used to have to put it into a player, a tape player,
Yeah.
play it.
And if it would come unwound sometimes, and you'd have to wind it back up. You had to get a pencil and like
Yeah.
spin the thing around. I remember sometimes if it was like a cherished cassette, I would literally take the thing apart and like spool it and
Yeah.
put it back together, because there's 4 tiny little Phillips head screws that hold this thing together. And if it got all messed up, you could sometimes fix it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I remember seeing that happening
Mm-hmm.
from time to time.
Yeah. I'm sure not many people did that, but since we had
No.
a dad who was an audio engineer and did all kinds of stuff with tape, we
Right.
kind of knew how to do stuff.
Yeah. I don't want to we could probably use this for a whole nother episode, but recording the top 40 hits off the radio,
That's a
you're,
good.
listening,
That is a good topic. Yeah,
listening, and then
we'll save that for a future episode.
yeah. All right, we'll save that. So tune in to the next episode if you want to hear more about more cool things that we did when we were young.
That's right.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. Hope you enjoyed this. Like and subscribe,
Yep. Like,
And,
subscribe, and share.
and
Share
definitely
it out.
share this out. Yeah, we would love to see this grow a little bit, and hopefully you enjoyed laughing at us for the last half an hour.
Yeah.
And we
Even
look
if
forward
you share
to
it out because it's cringy, by all means, that's cool.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
share it. Just share it out and laugh at us.
Exactly.
We're all about it.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll
All
see you
right.
next time.